King Charles III has paid more than $39.6 million in taxes, and that's not a headline you'd have seen from any British monarch before now. For the first time in history, a sitting British king has disclosed his personal tax payments. Buckingham Palace confirmed Thursday that since Charles ascended to the throne, he has paid more than £30 million, that's roughly $39.5 million, in taxes. It's a landmark moment for an institution that has long resisted financial transparency, and the timing is no accident. So why now? The pressure has been building for years. Anti-monarchy campaigners, lawmakers, and ordinary members of the public have demanded to know more about where royal money comes from and where it goes. That pressure intensified significantly following the scandal surrounding King Charles's younger brother, Prince Andrew, and his ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The palace is clearly trying to get ahead of the narrative. Here's how the king's finances actually work, because it's a bit complicated. There are essentially two buckets of royal money. The first is public, the sovereign grant, which is funded by the government and pays for the king's official duties and the upkeep of the royal palaces. This year, that grant rose to £132.1 million, about $174 million, with more than half of it going toward preserving and protecting occupied royal palaces. The second bucket is private. Charles inherited a substantial personal fortune when he became king in 2022, on top of wealth he had already accumulated as Prince of Wales. That private income, from investments, trading profits, and earnings from the Duchy of Lancaster, is what he pays personal taxes on. Now, here's something worth noting: the king pays taxes voluntarily. British law doesn't actually require the sovereign to pay income tax, capital gains tax, or inheritance tax. Queen Elizabeth II was the first monarch to pay taxes at all, and she only started doing so in 1992, a decision the New York Times at the time called a well-timed public relations initiative amid recession-era resentment toward royal wealth. History, it seems, is repeating itself. And Charles isn't alone in the disclosure. His son Prince William also released his tax details separately. Since becoming the Prince of Wales in September 2022, William has paid more than £20 million, around $26.4 million. Not everyone is impressed, though. The anti-monarchy group Republic pushed back almost immediately, criticizing the palace for revealing tax payments without disclosing the king's total income. Their chief executive Graham Smith put it bluntly: the more they reveal, the more questions are raised. The palace also dropped another notable piece of news: once the decade-long refurbishment of Buckingham Palace wraps up next year, King Charles and Queen Camilla will not be moving in. Charles has lived at nearby Clarence House since 2003 and plans to stay there. The palace will continue as a working royal site, but the palace says it wants to widen public access to, quote, maximize the national benefit of a publicly funded building. All of this comes at a sensitive moment for the monarchy. Public support for the institution sits at 55%, still a majority, but the lowest it's been in 30 years. Whether this transparency push changes those numbers remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the palace is betting that opening the books, at least partially, is better than keeping them closed. I'm your host, thanks for listening, and we'll have more tomorrow.